Biblical economics starts with creation and covenant. God created the world out of nothing. That means He owns it. There was nothing alongside of Him, around Him, underneath Him that contributed to the creation. Christianity is unique in believing this. And because we believe it, we believe in God's total ownership of everything, including us. And therefore, no man has absolute ownership with regard to anything. Now, sometimes our liberal friends will give a nod to this as an excuse for handing the state ownership of everything. But the state doesn't own everything either, because the state's not God. The state did not create, God created. And God then entrusts to men stewardship. This is the second point of a covenant. The first is God's sovereignty. The second is stewardship, representation, authority by transfer. God gives men the right, the obligation, the privilege, the joy of working with some portion of the creation He's made. The third part of a covenant, and the third implication of creation, is that God sets the standards by which we are to conduct our stewardship. We don't get to make it up for ourselves. We have to obey Him, whether it's with property, landed property, money, our labor, our time, our intellectual properties. We have to make use of them in terms of God's Word as He's revealed it in the Bible. Anything less is not biblical economics, because we are talking about biblical economics. We're presupposing that God speaks to men in history using words, and that those words are understandable, and that they're recorded in the Bible. The fourth part of a covenant in the biblical economics is that God judges. Since He gives us stewardships and tells us how to use them, He will hold us accountable both in time and in eternity. There is a last judgment. There is a day when we will render account of our stewardship, and we will either hear, "Well done, good and faithful servant," or we will hear, "Depart, you wicked, into everlasting fire." Meanwhile, in time, this is the fifth point, God allows us to develop from very small beginnings great resources and great riches for the use and service of His kingdom and for His glory. He began humanity in a garden. He destines humanity for a worldwide community, the New Jerusalem, which is both a garden and a city. We're to grow, and God promises growth, and growth is a good thing. But we can also, because of our sinful nature, take the things God has given us and develop it in a more and more wicked direction. And this God will deal with in His time.